Alright guys, so today we'll be putting on a bumper. Trying to decide between Rough Country. They have one, and then they had this one off of Amazon. Probably from China, but it's pretty well made. And then I like that it has the shackles. Got two of these you can set up. It's also got light pods. Rough Country has two as well, but this one's got an extra set on the outside. And to be fair, Rough Countries, they have a step right here, so if you like that, that other bumper may be for you. Both are pretty solid. This is 3/16 steel right here. Yeah, so I'll be putting it on, taking it off our factory. It's relatively straightforward. Not too much to it other than taking off the license plate lights out of our current OEM bumper. And then if you have backup sensors, which we have, because ours is a Lariat, we're gonna put them right there. The original bumper has 2 bolts. We'll take a look at it in the next clip, God willing. But it's a pretty straightforward install and removal. So we're gonna detach this. We already took this out. We're gonna do the same for the other license plate lights for these. You're gonna come behind them. Essentially, you're gonna squeeze. There's 2 tabs, so if you look in there, right there, you see the 2 tabs, 1, 2. You're basically gonna pry those tabs open. You're gonna pry those tabs open, and once they're open, you can pull this out. And the only thing that is holding this is these 2 bolts. I'll have to check the size. I think they might be 21 millimeter. Take these 2 off, and then the other side, same thing. And then this is just gonna pull right off. But the part that's gonna take a little bit longer is gonna be the wiring. So for each pod light, this is how it comes. You know, same with this. So we're gonna connect our 2 inners and our 2 outers, and we're gonna run it, so basically like that, into one, and then that one and that one, splice them into one. And then, you know, we're gonna run the wire through into a switch inside the cabin, and the switch is gonna come directly to the battery. We're also gonna put an inline fuse and a relay. So we're gonna have our, so just working backwards from the source, or forwards, I should say. We have a bus bar distribution block. You can get these off of Amazon. Just Google bus bar or a distribution block. We also got one for the negative. But yeah, especially if you're running multiple accessories, lights, aftermarket backup camera, which we're fixing to install next. That might be the next video, God willing. Okay, just picking up where I last left off. So essentially we're gonna be running from the battery, having a fuse next, then a relay, then the switch, the toggle switch, and then straight to the bumper pod lights. I'm gonna draw up on a whiteboard, either in the next clip or the one after, just kind of explaining the basics, you know. I mean, if you have basic electrical knowledge, you could figure this out for yourself, but this is mainly for people who not too familiar with wiring stuff, or maybe wanting to learn or do it themselves and saving money. And you can wire this up anyway. You can wire all 4 into one, but so basically just kind of, and I'll explain, you'll see what I mean in the next video, or next clip, excuse me. So essentially, what we got here is a solder connection I mean, you could wrap the wires, splice them, solder them, however you see fit. I'm gonna try to do it the best way I can. You know, there's different ways to do them, some better than others, but this is what we got. Picked it up off of Amazon, same here. Yeah, so essentially, now we're gonna use 14 gauge wire. So we're just gonna run all our negatives. So we're gonna splice this in like that, splice in a negative. Same with this, splice in a negative, and then splice in a negative, and then run that to the frame. For this one, we're gonna run, because we want our 2 outers. Now, if you want, you could run individual wires for each one, but then you'd have to have 4 switches. And my setup I prefer, which makes the most sense, personal preference, is have these 2 and then have these 2. So whatever suits you. I'll show you the setup I have for the toggle switch. It's a box, but alternatively you can order the individual switches off of Amazon. Whatever you prefer. Alright, so we got on our last one, and we'll test it with a battery just to make sure our grounds are good, everything's working. Alright, so we'll test it real quick. You can hook it up to a battery. We got a no-go boost. Hook that like so. So I got all 4 grounds hooked up, so we'll test these individually. Looks good so far, so good. Okay. Alright, so ground's good, so we'll do the red wires, positive. We're gonna these 2 into 1, and then same for this, these 2 into 1. So we got our 2 inner pods, right, as we just saw a minute ago, and we have our 2 outer pods. You could wire this any way you want. You could wire 4 switches, 1 switch for this, 1 switch for this one. But I mean, honestly, it makes more sense to do your 2 inner and then have your 2 outer. Now, alternatively, you could wire everything, which it lights up all 4, but I'd rather have, you know, the option to just put these on, or just put the 2 outer on, or put everything on at one time. Also, don't have to wire relay if you really want to keep it simple. So if we look here, we got our inner pod. That's color coded orange. For the positive, want to have some type of color distinguishment so you can kind of understand the flow chart here. Our outer pod positive is going to be red, inner is orange, our grounds are purple, and then this is going to be for our switch. So if we just start from right here, as you saw earlier, you have your 2 positives. So let's just focus on doing your inner, we have our positive coming off of this inner pod, and we have our positive coming off. So what we're gonna do, you take your wire, splice them together right here. Good connection, good contact, however you choose to do it. So we're gonna splice it right here. It's gonna run up, so because we're running it through a relay, it's a 4-pin relay. We got off of Amazon. God willing, I can leave the link in the description for that. So it's a 4-pin. So we're gonna run it to the 87. So just put a little inline fuse, 15 amps, 10 to 15 amps is fine. Now we'll do the positive for this, for the 2 outers. So we'll come up, you know, splice it together. Now run it to our second relay, run it to the 87 pin, and then connect the 30 pin, you know, directly to the positive, and then put your little 15 amp fuse in between. But I would recommend just connect all 4 grounds together. Boom, boom, boom. So this ground with this ground with this ground, look, these are your connection points. And with this ground, and then just ground it to the frame. Now, the only next step is you want to ground your relays. So what we'll do, we'll start at pin 85, and then pin 85 for this one. We'll have 1 ground wire, and another ground wire, and we'll splice them. And actually, just to be consistent, because I put circles wherever we have a splice, so just for consistency purposes, we'll do like that. For uniformity. And then if you want to, you could ground this to the frame somewhere good, which it works just as well. But since we have a distribution block coming off our battery, we have like several ground spots, and same thing, we have a distribution spot for this, for the positive. And God willing, I'll show you. We'll be using 14 gauge. You can use 14 to 16. We're gonna go with 14, a little bit bigger, because we're combining. If you do combine all 4 together, I would probably recommend 14 over 16. Back to this, so our 86. So we want to have our switch in the cab, and you know, I'll show you what switch setup I'm using. It's a rectangular block I got off Amazon with 3 buttons. So 1 button's technically not going to be used. It's going to be an empty button. You'll see in the video. So it's going to be something like this, and this isn't used to be. It's for something else if I ever add, you know, other lights elsewhere. But anyway, so run your wire to your switch, and of course you're gonna have to. On your switch, you're gonna have to have a ground. So it's gonna be like this. So it's gonna look something like this, you know. And then we're gonna, of course, have our positive. And then we're gonna have our ground, and we'll probably, just for consistency purposes, we'll probably run that to our distribution block, and we'll show that later in the video. So this is my little switch box. You can do whatever setup you want. You don't have to have like a switch box. You can do just 2 individual switches, whatever's easiest, you know. So yeah, so you got our wire that up to the switch, wire the 86 up to this switch, and of course pressing this closes the circuit and allows the flow. May or may not show too much of the wiring because I'm trying to get this done rather quickly. Okay, and also I picked up some wire loom. I would recommend getting this one quarter. Yeah, 1/4, 100 feet. Just so when you're running these, mainly these 2 wires, they're gonna be long because it's gonna be starting at the back end of your truck. So just some clarification. At least if you're not gonna run a relay, you definitely want to have an inline fuse so nothing burns up. Always run fuses on your stuff. So just explaining the relay real quick. So the reason you want a relay in this type of setup is, well, it's over 5 amps, and so you don't want to have constant power, running to the switch. Essentially all a relay is I mean, it acts as like an electrical switch, or kind of like a gatekeeper. So the way it's running, we have our positive coming off, and we're gonna have it fused with a 15 amp fuse. Maybe I could put a 10 amp on there, but we'll just put 15 amp. That's good enough. It comes in, and then it comes into the relay at pin 30, because when you get this relay, it's gonna have 4 wires. 1, 2, 3, 4. And you're gonna wire it to pin 30. So it comes in at pin 30. Nothing happens because pin 30, because it is connected to pin 87. So this is your relay. You have, I believe there's gonna be 2 circuits inside this relay. So you have pin 30, and then nothing happens at pin 87 because it's trying to travel through here, but nothing happens because it's not activated. So basically this is where your 86 comes in. So if you look right here, our switch wire for our switch box is going to come off right here. It's going to power up our switch, and then so when you press on, current is going to continue to flow. It's going to flow to 86, right? And then 86 and 85 is grounded. So because this is one circuit, and since this is grounded, there's a coil that's going to energize them inside. And I think it's a type of inductor. It's going to energize, I believe, magnetically. And so when these two energize together, it's now going to complete this circuit. So some magic happens, God be glorified, and 30 is now going to flow to 87, and then look, it's going to thus complete the circuit, and then splice off, and then boom, you got light. So that's basically it's throttling this 12 volt high power that's coming in. It's being stopped right at the 30. So until you press the switch, that's when it allows 30 to 87, and then down on the lights. Instead of having like a constant power, if you just ran it to the switch, a constant power 12 volts on your circuit, those positives are going to go to the relay. I think the 87 point, I don't know where the relays are, and then one end of the relay is going to run to this fuse, which this side is going to run to the battery, the bus bar. And then you have another part of the relay that's going to tie in directly to right here. Another part of the relay is going to be the ground. All right, so we got everything wired up. You gotta see, I kind of taped it off. So remember in the diagram, so just connecting. We got some fuses. I don't know if I showed you already. So we're gonna have 2 fuses. These are our 2 fuses. And then you can get a set of these hardware shop or off of Amazon. But these are heat shrink connectors. I had issues, these can completely melt in the solder. These are solder. You crimp it and you heat it up and it spreads. I've had issues of it bubbling. Maybe I'm putting too much heat or I'm not using the right nozzle here, but we'll get this going. Wire it up. This side is gonna go to the battery. This side is gonna go to our relay. Go ahead and Probably just gonna use this. I know I should color code it, but I don't feel like. I'd rather keep these equal, you know, and together instead of having kind of a mess. Maybe I'll regret it, but. Okay. Go ahead and crimp it. Yeah, I think these are supposed to actually melt. I've seen them melt. I've done links before where the metal completely melts and spreads out because this is solder. But recently I've had, maybe it's my attachment, it's too big or whatnot, but I've had issues with it putting the heat on it, and then it balloons up and it starts squeezing out. So this is good enough. I mean, it's actually melted. You can see these are really useful. They save a lot of time. I mean, this set was not expensive. That one you're looking at, I mean, it really saves time, and especially for something like lights, especially audio too. If you're doing audio, you want to have ideally solder connections. Mainly for audio, you know. For something like lights, it's not as crucial, but just so you don't have to go chasing a do it right once, cry once, you know. So down the road, if you have issues, you're not, God willing, you won't have issues, but if you do, you'll feel pretty confident in how you do it. That looks good. Okay. I think it's in my last video, but I'll show you what I meant. The bus bar. So this is a bus bar. You can get this off of Amazon. So I got one for the positive, and I also have one for the ground or negative. So you hook this, you know, I got this running to the positive. That way, you know, for my multiple accessories, such as your floodlights, you know, or if you have other accessories in there, which I do, it makes it a lot more easier when you're adding too, and gives you more room. This one, and then this little area right here, is where I'm gonna just kind of loosely keep the relay, the two relays, two fuses. They're just gonna kind of sit in here. That's fine. Maybe we'll tidy it up. Keeping the diagram in mind, we're gonna have this going into one of the relay pins, the fuse going into the second, the third. Remember, this is our little switch thing we got. Our third pin is gonna go into this one. Now remember, everything's double. So relay number one, relay, the second relay, you know, same with this. One of the red wires for relay one, the black wires for relay two. Same with this. This is relay one's fuse, it's relay two fuse. The fourth part of the relay should go to ground. So just refer to the diagram I made earlier, pause the video or something. So as you can see, we got our first fuse, as you can see, and then this is going to go to the relay. nice and tight. All right, that's it. So got our two fuses, and we're gonna have relay 1, and then have this one hooked up to relay 2. So next we'll go ahead and make our negative wire for the relay. So we're gonna do the same. We're gonna use these terminal connectors, come over here, and it's just gonna be a straight wire. So we're gonna do 1, 2 wires. We'll run it right there, and then the next step, we're gonna take our relay and then hook everything up. So we're gonna hook these two to the associated correct port on the relay, and then same with our ground or negative. It's really a ground, you know. And for our ground, we'll hook it to the ground pin on the relay. And then that still leaves 2 ports open on the relay. Remember, just recapping, these 2 are gonna fill up the 3rd port. And then the final port, the 4th port on the relay, is gonna go to our switch, you know. You wanted to kind of keep it simpler, you could just do 1 switch like we discussed in the beginning of the video. Don't want anybody to get lost in the video. Hopefully I'm not over explaining. I'm sure those with a bit of electrical knowledge kind of get this, but this is just mainly for people who have never done this before, who want a cool bumper with some lights, and it's good too, and it's pretty reinforced. So this is our switch. We're gonna go ahead and just make a cutout for it, and then we'll start doing a little more wiring. We'll hook our negative leads. I don't know if that was in the last clip. You know, if you have any questions, just leave them in the comments. God willing, I'll answer them. But we're gonna make our cutout. We're just gonna cut probably right below the steering wheel, because I'll have a fair bit. We're not gonna put it in just yet, because we still have to wire our relay. So this will be the next part, because we are running two lines, you know, one for the inner and then one for the outer. So we're gonna have 1, 2. We're gonna use these little butt connectors, right? Just clip it on, wire it up, and then wire it to the appropriate slot. Panel. Okay, I have the relay laid out as well as the switch. So just visually going over it real quick. So this is our negative. We got our ground. This is gonna go straight to the battery negative, but we have a distribution block as I've shown you earlier. And then this is our positive, so on directly to the battery or the distribution block, as you've seen earlier. And so right here is our relay. So pin 85 is the ground, it's this one. So this is gonna go directly to our negative side on the battery or distribution block. And then this is our switch. So this is gonna come to the switch. So as we'll follow it here, and we'll actually plug it in just to kind of simulate it. Okay. So for switch 1, I'm gonna go ahead and okay, that's plugged in. So, and then this is gonna be hooked to ground. So when you press this, it now completes the circuit. And then because you're grounded, it completes the circuit. And then the coil inside is gonna, I think it's an electromagnetic field. And then it's gonna connect these two. So it's gonna connect pin 30 and then 87. So we had it mounted, or just mounted up here. Just like that. Bolts right there, 1/2 inch. Take that off. So basically what we're doing here, we're just taking off our sensors, taking off our 2 license plate lights, taking off this, and then we're gonna hit these 2, pull off the bumper, and then we're gonna have to disconnect this, the receiver, God willing. And just remember to fish, fish all your wires and stuff. You're gonna have this piece was attached. You're gonna have to kind of rip it out or push down. It was up in there, so just make sure everything's out and disconnected. That way when you go to pull the bumper off, nothing gets yanked on. And just quick update, yeah, so I was able to get this out. Like I said, just take a pry bar and push like that, and you should be good. I figured I'd show how to get this out. Also, by the way, I don't think I mentioned it. So we're on the other side, we're on the passenger side, but same deal. Those are the other 2 bolts you're gonna be taking out. I don't think I mentioned it, but these are 13/16. So let's get back to it. So I don't know if I showed it in the first clip, but you see this, you're gonna take this and then kind of peel it back. And it has memory, so which I guess is good when you're taking it off. But when you're putting it back on, it might not. It might take a little while. So you just kind of go like that. Okay, finally got it. It just comes straight out like that. We'll just fish it. See this thing? It's just gonna come just like that. Already broke these loose. They weren't on too tight. Alright, so we're gonna go ahead and take off these 2 13/16. Okay. Alright, bumper's off. So what I had to do for this side, I had to take my hammer, because it's in like this, right? I tried taking a pry bar, but it's easier just to kind of balance this side. I did have somebody help me hold it just to make it easier. So I have this side balanced, because if you have it cocked, it's gonna put this in a bind. But once it's balanced, I had to hit this in, kind of break up some rusting. The way it's gonna sit, it's gonna come in, and it's gonna have a bolted up right here, and then it's gonna have a plate. So once we detach this assembly, the plate is gonna sandwich between these two pieces, so that's why we have to take this out. And just a side note for people, I mean, everybody has this setup on their truck, but for those who've wondered why they can't get it out, you can see in my situation, looks like the key you can see in there. There we go. So yeah, the key looks like it's snapped off somehow. It appears that way, so we'll just leave that be. Alright, so 7/8 doesn't fit, aka 22 millimeter. It's a hair bit too small. Put you a stool right there. Alright. Actually, it's binds hanging up. Keep some pressure on it. Alright. And put some glasses on too. That way this stuff ain't falling in your eye. Hopefully you can. Alright. Just put that. Penetrated because I got the coating on. Bismillah. Alright, so we got it off. You see this little piece? It wedges. It sits on the top, just like that. Same for that one. And in the back, let's see those two bolts, and then those two bolts. Come back to this. This is the receiver. We'll probably hose it down. Maybe clean off our screws. That's full of gunk, grease, and PB blaster. So. We're lining up and may get somebody to help me, but so basically this is gonna sit under this, and then this like that, and our receiver slide right underneath, and then we'll bolt it up from the bottom. This piece, you know, it's gonna sit just like on top. So this goes on, L's on perfectly, hit these two, and then hit these two, and then do the other side, and then put this right here, and then come with your two big bolts, remember, and then hit your two back bolts, and then you're gonna, right, boom, boom, boom. Same for that side, it's pretty straightforward. It leaves some room. Move back and forth. So when you're lining it up, just adjust accordingly. Get back, don't torque these to 85 foot-pounds. That's too much. So we'll go ahead and leave this side loose. So when we get on this side, we'll get this nice and bolted up. And then when we get this on, we'll go ahead and kind of make sure it fits. We'll get these in the grooves. We won't tighten tighten the nuts or nothing. We'll just get it lined up and then we'll position this and then do our final tightening. Alright, so we got both of those on nice and tight. And then remember we left this piece kind of loose, so we tighten this up. It'll help to have somebody maybe put some pressure, unless you can find something, or a bungee cord or something to kind of keep some upward pressure as you're moving this, kind of adjusting it. You know, have to slap it over. I don't know if we have a spacer. They should have sent us a spacer, hopefully, to be able to properly fit our receiving hitch back on. Okay, so we got our nuts. Right. See how she looks. Yeah. It's pretty nice. So really all we have left is to put this receiver on. We'll have to figure out to get us some type of plate to keep it level. I have a few ideas. All right, so just looking, I think that's about 1/4 or 3/16. I'll measure it, double check. But we got a piece that's pretty close to that. So we're just gonna cut a piece running this way, and we're gonna put it right there, 2 pieces. Honestly, it's not the best, but it'll do, you know. It's better than nothing. We can always, this is the piece that I had lying around, about the same exact thickness. There we go. Some plywood. Measures out. It's a little bit thicker than the plate, but that's fine because it's going to compress a little bit when we torque it to 85 foot-pounds. It's going to sandwich right between here. That's pretty good. Just line up the holes. You know, you can use a screwdriver and kind of move it around, and that's what I did because I can't get that good of access because of the spare. If you just take down the spare, you'd probably save a lot of time. But for those that are in my situation, that's what I did. And then just start one and then slowly tighten it and then put a screwdriver through the hole to keep it, and then do it for the other. put your torque wrench, remember 85 pounds, foot-pounds. Alright, so what we're doing here, we're just putting back on our sensors and then plugging in our license plate lights and then just tidying up the wire. And for this bumper doesn't come with a pre-drilled screw to mount it, so we're probably just gonna figure something out and mount it right there for now. And then we'll pretty much take this, unravel this, and then just run it, you know, fish it all the way up. I don't think we're gonna run it through the cab. I think we're just gonna finish looming it, and then we're just gonna run it underneath the truck and then come up right into the engine bay where the relay and battery area is. So I think that's gonna be better, God willing. We got a ground to the frame. That's a pretty good bolt right there. We're gonna wire loom it, kind of clean that up, but just showing you, this is where I got the two wires for the inner and outer pods that are gonna run to the relay. So I just, you know, essentially zip tied, you know, just ran it pretty much all the way through there. Initially, I was thinking of running it through the cab, and then we got it, see, coming up and right here. So we're testing it. You can test it, each one, so that lights up. Let's go see if that lights up. And yes, we're in business. You can see. And then we just tested the outer ones with the other wire. We just tested this off camera. So yeah, I recommend doing that before you start wiring up to your relay, but that'll come next. We're almost there. And then we have our switch. We're gonna, you know, put right there. Didn't make the best of cut, but it doesn't matter because it's not gonna show. So yeah, wherever you prefer. For the ground, I just took a terminal. I didn't have any ones that were big enough, so you just make a cut. See where I cut it, and then open it up, crimp, and then it'll go right on and kind of brush some of the metal. Yeah, so that's what we're doing for the ground. Alright, real quick, I'm just gonna show you. Got that one. That's what I just wired up. You got the two outers. And I can hit this one too. So the second switch is for the two inner. So I can have both control, you know, over both of them. Still gotta finish tightening up the wires and this is my relay. It's kind of a mess, but only thing, if I could have done it again, I wish I would have color coded it, because it's gonna, if that's a tracing issue, it would be kind of hard to trace those lines. It's more time consuming. Switch setup. So that's it right there. I might figure something out with that eventually, maybe run that through a firewall or something, but for now this works. It's simple, clean. So hope this video was helpful. If you have any comments or questions, God willing, I'll be able to get to them in the comment section. So